Day 5 of Cleveland Browns camp in the books, and there's been a lot of discussion about this offense. Why doesn't it look the way people think it should? Is it behind? Is it ahead? Where is this offense at? So let's talk about that. Real quick before this video starts, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. There's going to be a ton of Cleveland Browns training camp content coming. So if that's what you like to see on this channel, make sure you're subbed to make sure that you won't miss a single thing that comes out within the coming weeks. That being said, let's jump into the video. Now, the Browns had an interesting day of practice. They've honestly had an interesting week of practice, from Nick Chubb going down because of a hit on Mack Wilson, to Mack Wilson being demoted to the second team and then getting injured, hyperextending his knee and possibly needing surgery, which may take him out for the entire season. I think I can speak for everybody when I say here, I think people just watched the practice today with their fingers crossed saying, please, not another injury. Now, Odell did leave practice early and nobody knows why, if that's injury related or not. Let's hope it's not, but there's been no report one way or the other. I'm going to lean on the side that it's probably nothing, but again, I'm speculating at this point. Some other notable things about today's practice was that MJ Stewart, the former second-round pick from, I believe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got some work with the ones, and what I think this signifies is that the Browns plan to replace Mack Wilson, or the lack of experience in that linebacker room, is to just throw as many DBs at the problem as possible. Now, this could have varying levels of success. The Chargers had a lot of success with this with Derwin James, but I don't know if the Browns have anybody who can do what Derwin James does in order to make that work. But it seems like that's going to be the direction they're going to go to try to solve this. I still think they need a vet. I would see if Dallas is interested in giving up Sean Lee. They need a guy who is an established middle linebacker. I know people are clamoring for Clay Matthews, but he just doesn't have the level of experience in that middle linebacker position that I would like. I think he's only played it for that 1 year, and that was like 5 years ago. So I really don't like that combination. And more than an experiment and more than somebody who doesn't have a ton of experience at that position, I think the Browns just need experience. They have B.J. Goodson, who's been solid so far in camp. I think they need to add another veteran to shore up that room in the absence of Mack Wilson. Also, no Carl Joseph today, so Delpit got in with the ones. Same thing with some of the interior linemen. No Myles Garrett, no Larry Ogunjobi, so, you know, the backups got run there. A good sign, because this guy's had 3 days of good practice. Donovan Peoples-Jones got work with the ones. Odell and Jarvis did practice. Well, I know Odell did for sure. Jarvis, I think he was very limited in what he took today. But Odell and Jarvis practice not very much, so a ton of reps for guys like Kadero Hodge and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Also, Stephen Carlson and Farrell Brown got work with the ones, and it seems like the question of who's going to be the green dot or the quarterback on the defense, it's going to be B.J. Goodson. He was the signal caller today. Not all those notes are out the way. Let's talk about the defense. So your secondary stepped up and made plays today, and it was by people that you would want to see make plays. Kevin Johnson continued to play very well today. He's been a consistent force. He's been moved up every practice I've watched. Now he's playing with the ones, and he continues to make plays. So Kevin Johnson seems like somebody who's going to be able to make an impact there and help the Browns free up some more DBs to make up for this linebacker deficiency, at least in passing downs. Also, somebody who is making a lot of plays and helps the Browns when it comes to depth is Terrence Mitchell. You guys know on this channel, I'm a big fan of Terrence Mitchell. I think Terrence Mitchell could start on a lot of teams in the NFL. I think he's one of the more underrated players on this Browns roster. And because of what you have at the top with Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward, he kind of gets thrown to the wayside as like a 4th or 5th corner almost, because he can't play the slot as well as somebody like Kevin Johnson has. So that means that you have incredible depth with your DBs, and I think the Browns should take advantage of that and put more of these DBs on the field more often, especially since they're not going to have a full complement to start the season at linebacker. Grant Delpit made some plays on the first team in the run game. He actually had a run stuff today. So for somebody who was specifically knocked on so much for not being able to tackle and not being good against the run. That's a good sign to see. Denzel Ward made some plays today. He's been consistently good throughout camp. He's looked like Denzel Ward. They've had him in more man situations, and I think we'll see more of that once the season starts. He had a good play, or at least a good hit on Pharaoh Brown. But Denzel, could you do me a favor and stop throwing your body into tight ends? This is literally how you've hurt yourself for the last 2 years in a row. Could you stop? Please, you're not the biggest guy. Stop throwing yourself into tight ends. It makes me incredibly nervous when you do, and you're such a big part of what the Browns are going to do with the absence of Mack Wilson. Jacob Phillips, the young linebacker, didn't have a great day today. Didn't make a lot of plays, and when he was in position to make a play, he kind of whiffed on this play. He didn't make the tackle. You would have hoped to see a little bit more out of Jacob Phillips, especially with the hole that just opened up at linebacker. But somebody who did fill in their hole is Taki Taki, because he had a good day. He's had a good camp so far. Not the greatest camp. He hasn't had like a Terrence Mitchell or Kevin Johnson level camp, but pretty good camp. I mean, he's made plays. He's been in the right spots. And today he was not just in the right spots. He was making plays behind the line of scrimmage, which is what you like to see. And with the absence of Mack Wilson, the Browns are going to need somebody to step up. Who better than Sione Takitaki, who looks like he was kind of stepping up today. So good things out of Takitaki, and overall good things out the defense today, even though they were shorthanded. I think they found a way to make some plays, and I think you saw some interesting things from some of the more interesting and important guys on this roster going forward. So I like what I saw out the defense. Now let's talk about the offense. Now, the offense has been getting a lot of flack lately. I've seen in a lot of the coverage of it. I agree with some of the points that people are saying about the offense, because at times it does get stagnant. At times they can't move the ball. At times they do struggle. But I don't think it's this doom and gloom show that people have said it was throughout the first few days of camp. I haven't seen that personally from my viewings of this offense. I think there's been some good, and I think there's been some bad, and I think that should be expected at this point of camp with the new offense, especially with everything that happened leading up to this camp being so shortened. But to start off with any discussion about how the offense looked today or any other day in camp, it quite frankly has to start with Harrison Bryant, who's been amazing so far in camp. And look, I don't want to keep dogging Njoku here. You know, I like Njoku. I think he's a very talented player, and I think he has a lot of upside. But every time I see Harrison Bryant, it just becomes clearer and clearer to me that this dude's probably going to be the number 2 tight end to start the year, because he's doing everything you want the number 2 tight end to do. He can go in there at times and play fullback. He can run routes from that fullback position. He can be a tight end. He can block. He can jump. He's athletic, and he can catch. I don't know how David Njoku, or how they justify putting David Njoku for more snaps than Harrison Bryant, if this goes this way or continues to go this way throughout camp, because Harrison Bryant has just looked like the better fit in that position. Now, granted, he's done most of this work against the twos, but David Njoku's also been running with the twos, and he hasn't looked impressive at all. I mean, most of the highlights I bring up about David Njoku are usually on the defensive portions of these videos, and that's concerning, because there's a lot of talk about Harrison Bryant. There's a lot of talk about Austin Hooper, but barely any peeps about anything David Njoku's doing. And if you're David Njoku, that's concerning, because that means you're not making plays and not making the improvements that you quite frankly need to make in order to have a decent role on this team. And when you look at what Harrison Bryant's doing, it's kind of hard to ignore how bad of a fit David Njoku is for tight end 2 on this team, in my opinion. Another young player that I have been raving about every single video since I've started doing these camp recaps, it's Donovan Peoples-Jones. He looks good. I like his athleticism. I like his size. I like his strength. I like his speed. He has big hands, and he uses his hands to catch the ball. He's not a body catch guy. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been very promising, and he's made some very promising catches. I think he had one highlight where he just outright beat Greedy Williams on a out where Baker Mayfield hit him for the touchdown. It's just more or less what you like to see. And again, the Browns don't have a ton of wide receivers that fit that body profile that Donovan Peoples-Jones does. He's about 220. He's 6'2". He's a bigger guy. He's a more physical guy, but he's also athletic enough to return kicks. So when you put all that together, I see a very good fit in here for Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think at the very least they're going to have packages for him, and he might even push Rashard Higgins for his spot on this offense. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of love for Rashard Higgins. I understand it, but Donovan Peoples-Jones has been looking more and more like a star, even when he gets first-team reps against the first-team defense, and I'm very encouraged to see what Donovan Peoples-Jones can do as he gets more and more practice time, because it's just obvious he doesn't look like the guy that justified going in the 6th round at Michigan. This looks like everything that he was supposed to be coming out of college, coming out of high school. So I'm really looking forward to see what this development looks like, because this could start to get really interesting really soon. Other guys who had great days, Kareem Hunt, usual day, looked explosive, looks like Kareem Hunt. That's always good. Jedrick Wills had a good day today, didn't really give up a ton of pressures, had a great block here in the run game. So good things out of Jedrick. And even the rookie center, Nick Harris, looked pretty good today. Again, the offensive line hasn't been a huge issue, except for this play where Jack Conklin got murdered by Porter Gustin off the edge, which might be a good thing for this defense because they need more pass rushers, or might be a bad thing for the offensive line. I don't know how to feel about it yet, but that was actually a fun play to watch. You did get good effort from Njoku. He didn't get his feet in for this play, so it didn't count. But you like the effort. You like to see the ability being used there. You just want to see more consistency for him. And now let's talk about Baker Mayfield, because I'm going to be frank here. He didn't have a good day today. And I've noticed one thing about Baker Mayfield throughout camp that I am concerned about, and I think should be noted more often. And that is on these outs. And I'm going to show you these outs on screen. He has missed these outs throughout camp. These are easy throws. Now, I don't know why he's missing them. My best guess is that he's adjusting to the new footwork and that he's under pressure, and sometimes he rushes it. But even on 7-7s with no pressure, he was missing these outs consistently. Like anytime he had to hit an out, he was either high, behind, low. He very rarely hit these outs accurately. And that was kind of a frustrating thing to see with Baker Mayfield. You would hope that he could hit those, especially somebody whose calling card is supposed to be their accuracy. And he has the accuracy in the middle of the field, but when it comes to these outs, they're just a massive problem for him. And I hope it's just something he's working out with the footwork, and that's going to solve itself eventually going down camp. But until he hits these outs consistently, it's something we ought to be concerned about, because if a team can focus in that Baker Mayfield can really only hit the middle of the field, can't really throw these outs, they're going to zero in on that, and that's going to cause a lot of interceptions for Baker Mayfield in 2020. So that's concerning. And then overall, the offense just had a sloppy day. Baker looked sloppy a lot. Like this play was just sloppy. The offensive line was sloppy. The offense was sloppy. Conklin, again, that clip I showed earlier where he got beat, that was sloppy. And this interception to Andy Sadejo was sloppy. Now, some people are going to credit this to Andy Sadejo. I think this is all on Baker Mayfield. He overthrew the seam. There was actually pretty good coverage there by Donovan Olumba. And it was just a bad play by Baker Mayfield that caused the interception. Again, this is what I worry about. If teams know he can't throw the out and he has troubles throwing the out, and he had some of this his rookie year as well, they're going to just clamp up on that middle of the field where he's really good at and not let him get anything he's comfortable with, and then you're going to have an uncomfortable Baker Mayfield, and an uncomfortable Baker Mayfield leads to 20 interceptions. So you don't want that. And hopefully it's just a footwork thing. He's working out the kinks. But I am worried about that, because that's concerning, quite frankly, that Baker Mayfield is having problem hitting these relatively, easy throws that most quarterbacks are able to make when it comes to like these short outs. So I'm wondering what's going on with that. But that's my thoughts on the 5th day of camp for the Cleveland Browns. Some interesting things from the young players, but some concerning things from Baker Mayfield that you want to see corrected. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of day 5 of training camp? Good or bad? Let me know in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day and have a good night.